Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Inside the File podcast brings you the opinions and perspectives of a couple best friends. And if you don't like that call, we've got 3 words for you. You're out of here. We are your hosts, bringing you international baseball any way we can find it, Chris and Ethan.
You ready to deep dive in Italy?
Yes, sir. So, sometimes, we like to go beyond the box score to explore the people, movements that are shaping the future of the game. Today's episode is about legacy, identity, and opportunity, and how baseball can connect generations across an ocean. For nearly a decade, the Italian American Baseball Foundation has been doing something rare in modern sports development, building a true pipeline between culture and competition. Through scholarships, college placement support, international showcases, and its development partnership in Tuscany, the foundation isn't just growing players, it's expanding access, strengthening heritage connections, and helping reshape what the future of Italian baseball can look like on the global stage. And at the center of that work are 2 leaders whose path into this mission come from very different worlds, but meet in the same purpose. We're joined today by Carmine Gangone, co-founder and president of the foundation. Carmine has helped guide the organization with a vision rooted in community pride into an internationally recognized development force, one that opened real pathways for Italian heritage athletes to compete in collegiate and international levels. His leadership reflects a belief that opportunity in baseball should never be limited by geography, and that heritage can be a gateway, not a barrier, to elite competition. Also with us is Chris Vaccaro, vice president of the foundation, longtime journalist, educator, and author whose career has been dedicated to storytelling, media leadership, and cultural impact of the sport. Chris brings a unique lens to this mission, blending analytics, narrative, and education to help athletes not only be seen, but understood. His work bridges academia, media, and international baseball development in a way that few voices in the sport today do. Together, they represent both the vision and the voice behind the movement that's changing how talent is discovered, supported, and connected to national opportunity, including contributions to player pathways linked to Team Italy and the next generation of international competition. In this conversation, we'll explore the foundation's 10-year evolution, the strategy behind its player development pipeline, the growing relationship between U.S. and Italian baseball systems, and the larger question driving all of this work. What happens when identity, opportunity, and sport move in the same direction? This is the story about more than baseball. It's about access, it's about representation, and it's about building something that lasts. So let's get into it, guys. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to join us. We really look forward to this.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited about it. You basically said Carmine's last name correctly too.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you. Listen, I was trying. I was sweating it a little bit.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
So, for listeners discovering the foundation today, what problem were you guys trying to solve when it was created?
Problems? I mean, just getting people's attention on our mission and stuff like that was about, a tough task, but I think we're doing really good at it.
Well, if you had to define that mission in one sentence, what would that be?
I also don't think I can answer that with Carmine. The second question too, like nobody had ever done what Carmine and Joe, the other co-founder, had envisioned, and Frank Catalanato is one of those original founders as well. Like bringing a bunch of people together to celebrate Italian heritage through baseball sounds fun. It sounds almost like too good to be true. Like, how does that not exist prior to this 2016 time period? It didn't, right? It baseball existed in Italy, and of course we can get into history, but the idea of creating a nonprofit around that with a family-like feel where education and scholarship and bringing people, honestly, the bottom line is bringing people together with a common ideology. I'm amazed that hadn't existed before 2016. It's unbelievable.
Especially with the amount and the prestigious players that we've seen of Italian heritage, it's become a very there's a lot of Italian players because when we were doing our research for this episode, we realized that there were more than we actually assumed there were.
There's a lot.
So
There's a
many.
lot.
Yeah.
Even to this day, like current players, Jack Caglione, guys, Posada. You had so many players, former and current, that were, Italian players, and it's like that's really cool to know. But then to see that you guys are, building with them and helping support them and get them to the next level, it really reinforces that heritage and that support with, being an Italian player.
Sure. Not only a player in the minor, the front office, coaching as well, minor leagues. We're loaded. I mean, there's a bright future coming. Let me tell you, we're coming heavy.
I love it. The organization is actually celebrating its 10th anniversary. When you guys reflect on that journey, like, are there any moments that have, like, really defined that first decade?
Uh, I think the beginning was very, exciting and just, interesting in how we create this, how do we continue? But I mean, every year we nail it with a gala, with all our events, and every year just gets better for us. So it's we find new things to do, and we just keep going strong.
I also think, each of the core pillars that we now kind of stand on, they were developed over time. So the scholarships, for instance, something that we're so proud of that has become a defining aspect of why we raise money. That didn't exist on day one. It was like, yeah, we'll get I wasn't part of day one, by the way. Like I came about, 4 or 5 years into it. I even attended some of the first events just as a fan. I didn't even know I would one day be a part of it. I was at Carmine's restaurant where the first couple were. But I was just happy to be in a room with John Franco and Bobby Valentine, and happy that Carmine said hello to me. He knew who I was. I was just a regular guy. I mean, my connection to baseball at that time, I was the editor in chief of Top. So like I just felt like I was part of the game and proud to be Italian. Never in a million years did I imagine putting it all together thanks to IABF. And then so the scholarships was like a really big turning point chapter. I think anytime we're in Italy and boots on the ground on a baseball field helping kids get nurtured through coaches that we bring over there. Like last summer, we're there at an academy with our logo on it. We have these incredible men from the University of Tampa, Joe Urso and Sam Militello, there with us, watching them coach, watching them be so appreciative of, we all have the same blood. We're all there for the same reasons. Like those are chapters. That's like, you highlight a chapter and special things that happen. We're going to look back in 20, 30 years, watching them host a coaches clinic on a seaside resort with Italian coaches
Yeah.
that are just happy to be there and talking baseball, which is that's the language, right? The definitive language is not Italian, it's not English, it's baseball. Each of those moments for us are key pivotal aspects on the history of IABF, which
Yeah, it
we
was
don't
great.
take for granted, right? Like Carmine and I will talk in the moment there and go, "Wow, can't believe this is happening." And we relive it like this because we need to keep creating those moments that define who we are.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, you don't want the day to end. Just you're like a little kid, even though you're a part of the organization. You're creating this. You keep going. But you're just like the players. You're like young little kids that are just so excited about it. And this has a lot to do with again with the love of the game, the passion of our heritage, and that this all comes together. And this is what we do. This is what we do.
What lessons did you learn building the organization that you didn't expect early on?
I mean, we learn something new every day. Those things, they stay with the board. But no, I mean, listen, it's you know what? It's agree to disagree with board members and friends and stuff like that. Everybody has ideas, but you know what? You do learn something. You learn that we're all there for the right reason. We're all there to promote the game, to build that pipeline with Italy, to work on the scholarships for Italian Americans as well, not just in Italy, for boys, the girls softball. So you learn to listen to each other, to work with each other, to understand that we're a family. The IABF is a family. And, that's what we learn every day. We listen to each other, we work with each other, we make it happen.
I also believe a couple of things. Like we constantly learn about Italian culture through baseball, like what they lack, where they come from. I spend a lot of time speaking to people from Italy that played the game in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I go out of my way to have conversations with these people. As a educator, as a researcher, as a writer, I like stories, right? You read that in the intro about me, but it's real. Like when we were in Italy this past summer, there were several old men who played baseball in the 60s and 70s there who were like the giants of Italian baseball. Average person in America would never know them. Average person in Italy would never know them. They went out of their way to come to these fields to find us from other parts of Italy to
Yeah.
say hello because of the relationships that they don't know me out of like, I'll send them a WhatsApp message through a contact. Hey, I'm writing a book about like Italian baseball history, an oral history project, right? Hey, I want to talk to you about your life. Those moments to me are some of the most valuable conversations I've ever had because I learn about the game. And the game there, yes, the dimensions may be the same, but the way that it's structured from a cultural perspective is vastly different than what we take for granted. When you go to a Braves game or a Yankees game or I go to a Mets game, that is not like it is in the middle of, Tuscany, in the middle of Rome. So it's a fact-finding mission for me. And then I post about it. I share it on the IABF pages. I post stories. I write for a bunch of different magazines and newspapers. That to me, those are learning instances. The other thing we've learned is,
I'll take it.
yeah, a little intro. Is that talking? Uh, how difficult it is for them to be scouted. Like again, we take for granted everybody plays travel baseball in America. Well, the idea of travel baseball in Italy is like you got to go to a different country. You want to be seen? Go play in this MLB International Showcase in Germany and pray that there's an MLB scout there. And
Yeah.
right now, there's about 9 guys, literally 9. There was 9. In Latin America, that number could be 900, but 9 guys have signed affiliated deals with major league teams. And it was so difficult for them to get there. So over the last even 3 months, I've spoken to almost all 9 of them. I'm getting their stories of like, just like this video, podcast, just talking to them. It was one moment, one trip they took. Whereas a kid at Hofstra University on Long Island is going to be seen every time he steps on the base.
Yeah.
And that Hofstra, that's not Tennessee, Florida, LSU, Americans have it good. Italy, you got to be a diamond in the rough, and it's really rough.
It's that
And
much
see,
harder.
So, see, and I love the way you guys actually like talk about not only the game but about the support for the players, because it kind of goes into part of my next question was how does the heritage specifically shape the opportunity in baseball? But the way you're describing it is it's not as easy for an international prospect to be seen. And that seems to be where you guys are helping and contributing to that being seen and getting them out there to be, engaged with the sport and get their heritage into the sport as well.
Agreed. I mean, in Italy especially, it's very hard. It's not like it's Latin America, like Chris was saying earlier, Dominican Republic or, other Puerto Rico. It's so much easier for them because baseball is so much bigger. But here there in Italy, it's obviously not the number one sport, right? It's something that's played mostly in northern Italy, and getting people's attention to see players is a lot harder. You got to get these kids to different schools in the States. That's the only way it's going to work. Or playing in other countries, like Chris was saying earlier. So it's that much harder. And I think the IBF does a great job in promoting it. I mean, I think the IBF has been a huge, huge impact on Italian baseball. Huge.
It is. It's actually a really good question because those questions it allows us to reflect on what we do from an almost like an existential way, although it's pretty direct, right? So everything we put out there helps grow baseball in Italy. everything. It's a reminder that we are linked between both countries through this game that we love, and I mean that, like, so honestly, not marketing speak, right? But also, when we post about Samuel Aldegheri, when we post about a scholarship kid like George Green, who's coming from Tuscany to play at Northeastern JUCO College, there's eyeballs on what we're doing. You know, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of impressions on any given day. Because we've built this network, right? I mean, we can call Tom Verducci, we can call John Morosi, we can call somebody in almost every front office in Major League Baseball teams. We could call the commissioner of Major League Baseball if we need to make a connection. We can call the president of MLB International, who's half Italian, actually more than half Italian. His last name's Small, but it was shortened from Piccolo at Ellis Island. Everybody for us is a meaningful way of growing baseball in Italy. Now, do the Italians see that? I think it's 50-50 on who you ask. But I know for a fact that we have raised the profile of baseball in Italy. 1 million and beyond percent. We have.
Not even a doubt. Not even a doubt.
Well, to talk about Italy, you guys have a partnership with the Francesco Cervelli IABF Academy over there. What does that look like on the ground in Italy?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful academy. The IABF is partners with the Francisco Cervelli Academy, overlooking Tuscany. I mean, it's a beautiful ball field. We help organize clinics there, tournaments. You know, we've been partners now. I think this is our second year committed, correct,
Mhm.
Chris?
Yeah. The facility itself is a baseball stadium. Stadium. It's like the size of a college stadium, maybe even smaller in terms of seating capacity.
A high
It's like,
school, yeah.
yeah, high school. It,
Depends where you are in the States, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Right. It's similar to like my high school field, except my high school field has brand new turf, brand new bleachers, signs that I physically have paid for the other nonprofit work that I do. But it's stuck in the 70s. So most of the stadiums and the infrastructure in Italy, it feels like you're in a different time period. And so is the Cervelli IABF Academy. Now, the really unique part about it is it's on the west coast of Italy. It's about an hour and a half north of Rome. It's right on the Tyrrhenian Sea, right next. It's in what is called Castiglione della Pescaia, Castle of the Sea. And it's a
Okay.
beautiful, it's Tuscany. Like literally everything is
Yeah.
nice in Tuscany.
Breathtaking.
There's a beach resort right there. So like from a travel perspective, we could be hanging out, floating in the sea, and then you get out of the water and walk a quarter mile down the road and you're on a baseball field. That's a real thing that we've done. Like it all happens for us there. So that's beautiful, right? And it's rustic. It's set. There's pictures of it. We have videos of it. We've filmed like documentaries there. It's beautiful. Trees in the background. There's a clubhouse, sort of locker room. It's next to an old sort of dilapidated ice hockey or hockey rink, believe it or not, which is very
Yeah.
bizarre to see. Um, but it's beautiful. And one of those defining moments of seeing our logo proud, on the side of the stadium is really, really special for us. Last year was the first time we went and saw it. Well, we've been there a couple of times now, and really, really, the people who run it, Deborah Scalabrini and her husband Scalabrelli, and her husband Gianni, they're good people. They care about baseball. They care about the kids.
Yeah, they have a passion for the game, and they do a great job at the facility, like Chris was saying. And it shows a lot. It shows how much they care for the facility. So, yeah, I mean, it's a breathtaking area. It really is.
Do you guys see this development model expanding to other regions in Europe, or just kind of going to stay around the Italy area?
I mean, that's a good question. I would think that we could stay in the Italy area and motivate other people in Europe to do the same in their country, in their parts of Europe. I think that would be something that we would like to see.
We've heard that, from Major League Baseball officials that IABF has become a model for how to really have a nonprofit that actually makes a difference in baseball in another country. Well, I've said that I say it every year at our gala when I get a chance to speak. I remind people that literally no one on the planet is doing what we're doing to grow baseball in another country and facilitate the scholarships and put so much effort into it based on heritage. Again, that those aren't like chat GPT bullet points. That's real. Like what we've built is real. And to have Major League Baseball, to have Rob Manfred stand up at our gala 2 years ago and say that word for word, like there's no greater stamp of approval. I don't care if people dislike the commissioner of baseball because they hate the commissioner in every freaking sport. That's how it works. But the guy's been good to us from a rhetoric, marketability, just a stamp of approval. And so we'll never leave Italy. Like we're the Italian American Baseball Foundation, but we have been inquired through 3 or 4 other countries that have said, "Oh, how do you do this?" Well, people do this. A team of very loyal, dedicated, hardworking.
Hardworking.
That's it. We do it. Good luck trying to find a handful of other people like us that do what we do.
There isn't a moment or a day that we don't speak to each other or exchange emails, text messages, phone calls on our next game plan. We're never satisfied. We're always looking to do something else. We're always looking to do better. And we're not normal. We're not normal. I say it all the time. We care for this and we're going to see improvement every day. That's just where we have that mindset. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So it takes a lot of hard work and dedication.
See, that commitment and that love is what I really enjoy. And as someone who's not only just romantic about baseball, but romantic about the stories that come out of players in the sport and just in general, it's not always about just getting that home run swing. Sometimes it's about the things that are bigger than baseball. And your foundation has helped connect players like Jack Caglione, Kyle Teal, Adam Ottavino to the Italian baseball team for WBC. And with that coming up, what does that scouting and recruiting process actually look like behind the scenes, and where do you guys contribute for that?
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, through our events, right, we invite a lot of people. We create the connections. I think there's layers to this, right? Obviously, we have one of the biggest baseball galas in the country. About 500 people attend our annual gala in New York City in December. This one coming up is massive. It's going to be our 10th anniversary, right? But when we have these moments to bring people from Team Italy over, when we have the ability to market in America domestically and share our contacts to help us get it out there, we have a guy like Jack Caglione, who's our IABF ambassador. Well, do you know how IABF got a hold of Jack? I'm looking at rankings of college players and I see we got to keep an eye on this guy, Jack, in Florida. This kid's not normal at all. Just a thoroughbred in terms of size, grows 100. He hits hard and far. Like this is a unicorn. He was really, MLB Network was calling him like the Ohtani of college players, or the next Ohtani. That's sick. So I'm like, all right, this is a very Italian last name. I'm going to reach out to the sports information director from the University of Florida and just see if I can do a quick interview with him about his heritage, because nobody on the planet is asking Jack Caglione about being Italian at that time. I do. We have a video. We record it. We put it out there. Through that same video, we say, would you be interested in being honored as one of our Future Star Award? There's no greater Future Star in the history of our organization, I'll tell you that. And he accepted, because it turns out, as we found out, he is a proud Italian American. Yes, he's also Puerto Rican on his mom's side. He's equally as proud as that. But his dad is also a proud Italian American. So that was one of those pivotal moments for us too. Sorry, I have something in my eye as I'm talking here. Because we created the relationship, we invited him to the gala, we marketed him as an Italian American, not just a baseball star. Team Italy wants to talk to him. They speak to him at the gala. They're on the radar. There's already talk 2 years ago of him playing for the WBC team. He still needed to get drafted. So he goes through like college, becomes a stud even further, gets taken in the first round by the Royals. Team Italy, of course, undoubtedly talks to him behind the scenes. We believe we've helped create that relationship. So what happens there? It grows. The ability for us to reach many other players. Roman Anthony is friends with Jack Caglione. Roman Anthony was a Future Star honoree last year through Jack. Carmine has so many connections with the Yankees. He's been able to get Spencer Jones. Adjacently, he's able to get Kyle Teal. We know Adam Ottavino through Carmine. And so, like, you start to bring all these people in one room, it's very easy to give an email and a phone number to the folks at FIBS, the Federation of Italian Baseball and Softball, and say, "Here, these guys got to be on Team Italy." So we've done that many times over, and listen, there are certain names that we share that don't always get selected for coaching spots or roster spots. Listen, they're not going to take everybody who's an Italian American, but we've been integral, and I believe Carmine would agree with make connections that matter.
I think the IABF has made a huge impact on that, and I think that our annual gala, like Chris was saying, that's where everyone comes together. Just imagine 500 Italians in one room, right? You know you're gonna get deals done, right? But definitely, the IABF has definitely taken Italy baseball to, another step. I mean, that's my take on it. I'm sure that's Chris's take as well.
It is, and we do it with love, and you'll see if you follow our pages, there are certain points of the year where I put out, they kind of coincide when they release the MLB Pipeline Top 100. Well, where are the Italian names? Where are the guys that have Italian moms? Like, we figure it all out. We list that stuff. We share that before anybody with the heritage spin. Same thing with the college rankings, the draft rankings, the NIL or slash, transfer portal disruptions that happen. Like, anybody that's Italian with a name that we could trace, we put them on our socials. We put lists out there, and a lot of those names, I wound up putting into basically a database that I built that I gave to Ned Coletti, the GM of Team Italy's WBC roster, and I said, here's 100 something names, analytics equation that I built based on experience, national experience, visibility with prior years playing for WBC, and so on. Sure, he used it a little bit, and that's kind of how we help. We do it because no one's asking, but we do these things because we love it, and we want to see Team Italy succeed, and we want to be.
And on top of this, we're nonprofit.
Yes, this is not our
We're
job.
nonprofit. We take time from our families, from our careers, money out of our pockets, and we are totally 100% nonprofit, doing this out of pure love for the game, pure love and passion for our heritage, our ancestors, our families. And we want to see Italian American baseball, Italian baseball to just continue to excel, and we'll do whatever it takes on our part to make it work.
See, that's awesome. And so I got a question for you, Chris. You've prepared analytics presentation for the national team leadership, right? How has that data changed how international teams evaluate talent, even when it comes to just recruiting for WBC?
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of alluding to that before. I don't know if there's like a massive um, impact outside of like me trying to figure out a way to say these players are good for X and Y and Z, as opposed to just like here's a list of random names. I wanted to be more buttoned up. I wanted to put sort of my GM hat on as opposed to just, sending a bunch of random things. So I did it with a little bit of pomp and circumstance, a little bit of academic work, and anybody could do that, right? By the way, I despise stats and numbers and trigonometry, but having gone through now, I'm rounding third on my doctoral process. By the way, so I've been going through the idea of using statistics for research, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to create a database and an analytics dashboard that can blend statistics with longevity in the game, with age and such. And that's, other teams can do it. Other teams have far smarter people related to the numbers than me, but, AI tools help tremendously now with how to create these tools.
So where does Italy globally in baseball today stand?
And what happens to reach the next competitive level for Italian baseball?
Mhm. Well, I mean, hopefully they have a successful WBC. I think that would definitely make them reach up to another level to get more younger kids to want to play baseball. Seeing these, and that's why I always say that having Italian Americans on the WBC team is such a big thing, because the younger Italian kids need to see the Jacks. They need to see the Kyle Teals. They need to see the Dominic Canzones to want to. When you're a kid, what do? You follow your famous players. You know, your famous player looking up to his. You bat like him. You throw like him. You feel like him. So these kids in Italy need to see that, and by having a successful WBC, we can create young players want to come to the States and play. And I think that has a lot to do with it because, again, Italy is not the biggest in baseball, right? We know that, but it's definitely grown as well. Definitely.
It's a bit of a arms race right now in Europe, and the Czech Republic has really built up tremendously in
Yeah.
terms of what they've put into their marketing, their notoriety, their ability to tell the story on social. Like, you might say, what the heck does that have to do with on-field performance? It's about capturing people to go to games as much as it is actually winning games, and they've been starting to win. I do think Italy has the chops, however, and the people, and a guy like Cervelli, Francisco Cervelli leading the national team because he cares, because he's traveling the country looking to build up all those different layers and levels. A guy like Gibo Giraldi, in terms of the development of baseball in Italy right now from a youth perspective and making sure that the national teams are stacked with coaches and players. Like, we know all these people and we know how much they care and put into it because they've all been there before. Many of these people have played at a very high level. Marco Mazzeri, who's the president of Italian baseball, he played.
Former manager, right?
Yeah, the
Team
former
Italy.
national team manager in WBC, played over 25 years in the game there. He's beloved and respected by many. There's
And
a
he's all about player development.
yeah. So there's that idea of having the right people in the right place right now, and he's only a year into his tenure as the new president of Italian baseball. So we're going to see, I believe, changes. As he progresses in at least his first 4-year term. We'll see if he runs again. Then the WBC from a marketing perspective is really big. You just have to hope that they have all the proper TV deals in place so that Italians can see it. We don't need to attract Italian Americans to the game. It's all part of our lives here in America.
Yes.
You need the
Yeah.
kids in Italy to be able to see it and want to play. The other part is, again, infrastructure. Very rarely are we going to see investments in stadiums and fields and facilities. So you have to hope and pray that there are some people willing to invest a little, maybe a hitting facility, maybe an indoor facility, maybe a multi-sport facility where there's a place where you could play soccer and volleyball and baseball in one
And it's
spot. That's stuff that we take for granted here in America because it's all around us, but you just have to hope that they eventually somebody invests so the kids can see. That's what this is all about. And we need Sam Aldegheri to go the distance and be a regular in the big leagues. We need Alessandro Ercolani, a double-A pitcher for the Pirates, to make the big leagues this year. Like, these are guys that we're rallying behind because there's nothing stronger than an Italian native making the big leagues. That's the type of marketing that we need.
So I have a side question about WBC. Is Vinny going to get his espresso machine back in the dugout this year?
yeah, I'm sure it's gonna
Wow,
be
it's-
there.
Because I
there's
saw an
no way.
interview of him, and they're like, is it gonna come back? And he's like, I hope so. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, that's what drew me to y'all last WBC because I'm like, man, you know how nice it'd be to have a little jolt of an espresso in the dugout.
There should be 2 espresso machines. There should be, cannolis in a little case. Like, they need to market the heck out of that. That's
Yeah,
forget them being caffeinated. I want to see it on social media. That's the key.
yeah.
So
But that's
I
how
want
it
to
is too. I'm sorry, in places in Italy, some facilities, instead of Gatorade, they have some espresso. So that we've seen that before, Chris, when we went to the Mission Classic at the time, and espresso machines in clubhouses. So it's an Italian thing, which is good. It gets you going pretty quick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's amazing.
So I want to pivot a little bit into the scholarship portion of what your foundation does because the scholarships appear to be the heart of your mission. How does that pipeline differ from traditional recruiting systems?
Good start that, Chris. Just
There's visibility with us helping make some of those connections. There's also it's funny that there's so many different ways that players are found. You know, some of them are doing their own outreach, and they'll try to message tons of different schools. Many of them will try to come to America to be a part of a college showcase that, you know, they get seen by some folks. Some have gravitated towards similar colleges as other Italian natives that have come together. So it's the pipeline is as strong as like the individuals who put the effort in. We will go out of our way to help, right? But we're also not some college clearinghouse, and we also have, you know, day jobs like Carmine was alluding to. So like we're not sitting there going, "Oh man, we got to get 100 players from Italy to play here." It happens organically, and we're there to help. The scholarship piece of it is there's an application process. You know, you have to be able to prove that you're playing college baseball or softball here. You have to financially need the support and help. You have to have the grades. You have to speak to our scholarship committee and go through a process with a personal statement and an interview. So there's all these things that we hold people accountable through. But they find us all in different ways. We have noticed though the last 3 or 4 years, I'd say 2 or 3 years, that many of the people that are coming from Italy that apply and eventually get granted scholarships, they know each other, and it's interesting because, you know, there's a bit of a community there. You go through the list of all of them, and they all are buddies or play with each other on some of the national teams. You know,
Mhm.
U18, U15, probably U18, pretty much, and it's really cool to see because they all get along, and we follow each other on social, and we tag them when they do something good in college, and you know, so there's no perfect answer to that question, but we've built the relationships. There's an organic pipeline, and when we put it out there into the world, you know, people are seeing it that we need to see it.
So what barriers do Italians and Italian Americans face fans don't realize exist?
Mm. You could better answer that, Chris. I think.
Um, It's interesting. Italian Americans, I don't know. We're so far into now multiple generations of Italian Americans that, uh, listen, I'll tell you right now, the biggest challenge Italian Americans face is not getting along with Italian Americans because everybody has an ego, because everybody wants to do it themselves, because everybody wants to be, you know, pounding their chest and pounding the pavement. Like this is a known, and not enough people talk about it, but there's this. Yeah, we all love Italians. We all love to talk about Sunday sauce. We all love to eat pizza. You know what? When it comes down to the nonprofits and the cultural and advocacy work, there's a lot of infighting and struggle that happens across the board. This is not an IABF thing specifically, as much as it's like a cultural problem out there. So that happens, and that could, you know, that could hurt certain organizations and people. That's why, you know, we talk a lot about being a family and staying together and working together through these things. The Italian struggles are, you know, it's also cultural, right? Again, it's the visibility, it's the resources, it's the infrastructure, it's the expectation of how the game is played. Meaning, they don't have high school baseball, they don't have college baseball. You have to go and basically play for your town or play for one of these, you know, localized sort of travel, but you know, you play in a small region. Not every single region in Italy has baseball. So geographically, there's challenges. Obviously, a lot of it is played in the north. There's some in the south. Um, the media coverage and exposure. There's only so many people writing about, talking about, promoting the game, you know, and God bless them because you know, the more people that put it out there, the more people could see it. So, you know, the challenges are vastly different between Italians and then Italian Americans. Our challenge, we should have no challenges here. It's America. We should be grateful.
Yeah,
You know, we are.
it's a lot. It's easier. There's opportunity.
We create our own opportunity. We believe in that. We are aggressive in America. That's good. It's a different way of life in Italy. So.
By the way, just in, Phil Cuzzy retired.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so I don't know if you
Really?
guys are familiar with Phil Cuzzy. He was the
Yeah.
Yeah, he just retired, the umpire. It's all over Twitter and Instagram. My son tried calling me, sorry, and I told him that I can't talk right now. So he sees it on, and Phil is a big part of the IABF. We honored Phil last year, and great guy, great ambassador to the game. But I think he just retired after 27 years as a major league umpire. Definitely want to wish Phil all the best.
And
He's one of the best.
One of the
Yeah.
best.
To us, he's a legend. So
He's the oldest the oldest umpire in baseball history. So,
Really?
Oh man,
yeah,
I did not know that.
he's in great shape, doesn't look his age, but he's in the history books for a very unique reason. And we just went to his event in New Jersey a couple weeks ago. We always support his ALS foundation to raise support for that and awareness for that. And he was honored by us last year at our gala. So that's perfect timing. I got to put a post out there.
yeah, definitely. I'm just shooting him a text and congratulating him. But yeah, I mean, this, again, the opportunities always here in the States is getting more opportunity for Italians in Italy to play the game and learn the game. That's more of a challenge for us, for sure.
So speaking of the gala, y'all have cigar night and poker night. How critical are these events to y'all's mission?
This is where we create our funds for the scholarships. That's where we depend on people to attend, people to donate. We're nonprofit, so all our money goes to our scholarship funds and our partnership at the Academy in Italy. All of it, everything. And without a good turnout at our gala, at our cigar events, at our golf outing, we can't create this. We need these events.
So, for listeners that aren't athletes but want to help, what are the most meaningful ways to get involved?
Donate. No, I'm just kidding. But
Lying. He's not kidding.
no, but well,
Absolutely.
yes, donate for sure. But in any way, promote the IABF. If there's something that a lot of people want to get involved, right? It sounds great, but it takes work. We look for people that want to work, people that find ways to create new events for us. Find there's Italian players that we don't know about. Maybe there's some that we don't know about. Executives, coaches, girls softball as well, and all over Florida. I mean, you know how many Italians are in Florida, right? We were just talking about Isabella Samino, right near you guys, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
So
sir.
sir.
we want people that want to work, want to help us take the IBF to the next level.
Yeah, and
So,
I
with a
listen, something as simple as follow us on social, be a part of our, everyday posts, share, like, comment, engage, remind people in your worlds, other people's worlds that we exist, but we also exist to help promote the game and we post a lot of fun content. Obviously show up to our events, reach out if you have questions about the scholarship process or ideas, right? Carmine's right. Everyone, I got to get involved. I've learned,
Takes work.
I've learned
Takes work.
the answer to that is, "Oh, yeah, well, it's not, 'Oh, we'll figure it out. Yeah, 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 send us a note.'" No. You wanna be involved, tell us how you want to be involved, because we already delegate amongst ourselves. If you have ability to get work done, if you want to help with a specific area of our logistics, operations, communications, revenue generation, fundraising, business development, well, then bring it to the table. And this is something I've learned not just through IABF. I have several nonprofit boards that I'm a part of. Everyone wants to be involved until they actually have to show up to do something, and that's where the workers, come out, and everybody else may attend an event.
so really quick. So, this is where we get into a couple of the more exclusive questions for each one of you. So for Carmine, what personal experiences shaped your commitment to creating opportunities for Italian heritage athletes?
So can you be a little more specific on that? A little more clear on that?
So were there any, like, so I know you were somewhat of an athlete in your earlier years.
Ah, very little.
Um but was there ever a reason, like, like, because you were part of the founding members of the IABF. So there was something that you saw, or a need, or a development opportunity that you felt that, what caused you to want to help create this more?
But definitely something, the love of the game, the love of being an Italian American, and just watching guys. Well, I didn't never see them live, but back in the day, video highlights of Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, Frank Crissetti, seeing Joe Torre manage those are all motivations to me, seeing these guys make such a big impact on baseball. And so how do we continue that, right? We continue by the IABF committee, the IABF starting the clinics in Italy, the tournaments in Italy, anything that we can find, any Italian American players, any Italian players, any way to keep it going. Those were all motivations for me. Just seeing me being in Italy, you know, participating in the clinics, just that motivation is alone. I mean, I get the goosebumps just talking about it. And those are things that motivate me to keep going. And from day one, I just want to continue and leave it to the next generation of young kids, because eventually you have to pass it over, right? And hope that the young generation continue and want to do the same, and maybe even do even a better job than us.
So, how does leadership principles guide how you run it today from when you first started?
Man, I think we've been running the same, just hard work and respect for each other, and just continue to come up with new ideas. And I don't think much has changed from the first day on.
So, what's been the hardest decision you've had to make in this role?
Man, I just try I don't know if there's any hard decision. I just try to, any decision I make or we make as a group, because I always try to do it as a group. I always say the Italian American Baseball Foundation is we. It's not I. If it's I, it becomes an issue, because in any business you run, you're as good as your help, right? If you don't have a good staff, you can't succeed in anything you do. You want to be a good family, family, you got to have a good family, all that stuff. So I like to listen to what the board has to say. Um, so I don't think there's a hard decision. I just think that we need to be on the same page and work with each other. And I take this as a family. So to me, it's never personal. It's for the better for the foundation. And that's what motivates me. That's what keeps me going. I mean, the IABF is for us to help each other and take it to the next level, and not be personal, family.
So, for Chris, sir, just to pivot onto you, we got a few questions for you before we go into our closing questions. But your career spans journalism, academia, sports leadership. How do those worlds connect in your work with the foundation?
Storytelling, the ability to blend my interests and promote what we do through video, graphics, online media, extending that into the creation of several documentaries, constant stories and articles that I'm writing, and always pounding the pavement, whether on the IABF pages, on my own social pages, that combines media, education, baseball, sport. And there's an extension to that I've really grown to become fond of, the idea and purpose of diplomacy. You could achieve a lot through sports. Sports doesn't really bother anybody. Sports isn't really something to get angry over. Sports is not politics.
Sports is supposed to bring everyone together.
Yeah,
Sorry, Chris.
sports.
That's what and that's what Italians do. They bring everyone together.
So I've been able to, combine my interest, my career, and those key points that you mentioned. And storytelling is the one definitive way that I do all of those things.
Well, from an educator's perspective, what role does baseball play in cultural identity and community building?
Massive. Sports in general, as we were just saying, but baseball is and will always be, I don't care what anybody says, America's pastime. And the fact that America's pastime found its way to Italy through American servicemen during World War II is not only a point of education, but it's a point of historical context that I always like to remind people that we're really special. Coming from the grandson of somebody who fought in World War II, who earned a Purple Heart as a member of the underwater demolition team, which is the precursor for the Navy SEALs, who was an Italian American who went and signed up for the Navy at 16 years old and had his parents forge the papers to fight for this country. The fact that men like that brought the game to Italy is something always front burner on my mind. And listen, when I teach graduate level sports culture and media relations. When I talk about IABF in my classes and in the research presentations that I do, I've done it at universities, I've done it at Italian conferences, Italian American Studies Association conferences. It's a constant reminder that we're here because of baseball. We're here because everyone loves this sport, and if you can combine the heritage with the game, it's a beautiful thing. Like, there's no other way to say it.
So this is kind of more for both of you, but if everything goes according to plan, what does Italian baseball look like 10 years from now?
It's a good question. I just think more, more Italian players, hopefully, maybe some more facilities in Italy, maybe a stadium one day in Italy. I don't know. Maybe a game one day in Italy, major league game. I don't know. That would be pretty nice to see the Yankees and the Braves play a game in Italy, right?
I'm good with
Yes.
that.
It'd be almost like up there with the Field of Dreams games. Give you that nice view, the beautiful landscape. Yeah, that would be nice.
I mean, I think it could be done. It just takes preparation, dedication, and obviously money. But I think that if you ever see something like that, a game in Italy, a major league game in Italy, or even a high collegiate NCAA game in Italy, maybe, I think that the IABF definitely help put an impact on that. I really believe that.
I also think our growth will be measured by how much we can grow domestically too. We're very New York, New Jersey, Connecticut centric. We've dipped our toes in something in Tampa, something in Cleveland, something in Arizona. I think more footprints and strongholds outside of the New York tri-state area would be helpful. We're gonna, hopefully figure that out, in the coming years of what that looks like. We've made a lot of connections and relationships across the country, but we're only as strong as more eyeballs, more ability to raise funds, more scholarships, but
More support. We definitely need more support.
yeah,
Yeah.
more support. And I always hesitated because the answer is not more, more, more. The answer is smart, strategic business development that allows the brand to grow. And I also, as much as it is a nonprofit, as much as we've stressed the idea of fundraising, I don't like to get caught up on like we're just some fundraising machine. So there is the element of how do we continue to grow the useful nature of sports diplomacy and be more useful to the folks in Italy, in relation to a connection with the Italian government and the consulates and the embassies. How can we continue to push more and more Italian heritage games in Major League Baseball stadiums? And we've been ultra successful with that, but we have not done it in all 30 MLB stadiums yet. So my goal is to, hit all of those. And I think if we do what we're doing and we raise the profile of Italians in the game, more of those players from Italy have the ability to come and play here. So in 10 years, more people are going to know about us. We're going to have more ability to promote who we are domestically. The game will grow more in Italy. And then hopefully, there's just this ability to have other people in our board, community, committees that want to do this from a younger generation as well. In 10 years, Carmine's like retirement age. Like you think he's going to want to do this for 30, 40 years? I don't know. Like we need to figure
No.
out a way that there's, the next version of Carmine and myself and Joe DiMartino and Natalie Spedalieri and Dom Scala and Frank Catalanato. We have an incredible board. None of us are getting younger. So we got to make sure that there's people coming behind us. That we need to have that view and vision.
That's one of our number one missions for sure. To get we need this to accomplish this, to have the younger generation help us because, again, like Chris just said, we're not getting younger, and you know what? The stronger we are, it will lead to more people we have.
So I have one for you. What does baseball mean to you personally today compared to when you started this? Because I see that you have a batting cage on top of your pizzeria. So I was like, that is so cool. So I had to ask.
I mean, listen, I've always loved the game of baseball. To me, there's nothing like the game of baseball. It's America's pastime, right? I mean, from day one. But now having it involved with our heritage, wow, that to me now feels more. It hits home more. So it's a great feeling, and that's what it means to me. It's just now it's a part of my family, our culture, and that's even if God forbid the IABF didn't exist tomorrow, what we've accomplished, already, I'm extremely grateful and happy for.
Yeah, the game for me is it it was part of my career, working at Tops and doing a lot of fun things with players for a long time. Um, and it's morphed into a really important piece of my connection with my son. I have 3 kids. My 11-year-old son, Hunter, plays the game. Carmine's son grew up playing the game and played in college, is playing in high school, and his younger son's playing. The game allows us to connect to our own family, and I know it matters to him just as much as it is to me. Like when our kids see us at these events, when they see us on these fields, when they are able to join us for our events. When I had my son on the field at Fenway once, or I had my son on the field at the Nationals Italian Heritage Game last summer, like those moments are probably not probably they those are worth more to me than any other aspect of what we're doing outside of the scholarships, because it's not about me. It's not about Carmine. It's the connection and the light in people's eyes when they're like, "Whoa, this is really cool. You did this because you're Italian?" Yeah. Yeah. So I could have never imagined those feelings and that connectivity to the game. With Carmine and the other Joe started this 10 years ago, but for me, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago, I could have never imagined the emotional connection to the game that we feel now, which is why, and I know Carmine would agree, we fight to the death to make sure this thing keeps going, because we want more of that emotional connection to this game through the people we love, because it's who we are and it's where we come from. There's no other way to say it.
So, and this is a little off topic. So, I need to ask Carmine, okay, what recommendations? Because in August, I think it's like the 8th to the 15th, my son and I are going to New York. I need to know what pizza you recommend, because we're thinking about we might make a stop over there at your pizzeria.
Well, we have, I mean, we have over 36 kind of different pizzas, so you have a lot to choose from. So when you come here, we're gonna give you a nice smorgasbord of pizza, and we're gonna make you pick what you like the best, and we're gonna take care of you. But there's way too many, but I can tell you what, you're gonna leave with a big smile on your face.
I can't wait. My son heard about the batting cage. He's like, so we can get pizza and a batting cage? So he's never been to New York, so I got to take him to New York. I saw New York for the first time back in June or July, and it was beautiful. Loved it.
Yeah, it's a great city. It's a city of opportunity. You're gonna love it. So we'll be here, and we'll welcome you, and we'll feed you with a lot of pizza.
So I have one more question for both of you. If you could build your ultimate Team Italy team, who would you pick?
You want the whole roster, or you just want, I mean,
Um,
if I got to build a team
So is
around
this
an Italian player,
all time,
All
or like
time,
current?
all time, all
Oh,
time.
okay. All right, good. Start there.
I mean, if I got to pick you the one player of all time to build a team around, it's got to be Joe DiMaggio.
Okay.
I mean, it's center field. That's the guy. Besides the catcher, he sees it all. He sees it all. There's no one that tracked the ball better than him. Faster hitter, just a smart, made things just look easy. And definitely Yogi Berra behind the plate, right? They always say that catchers have become the best managers, and Yogi was one of the best bad ball hitters of all time, right? And then just the World Series rings alone. So go with Phil Rizzuto at short, the defense. I think, you know, first base, it's going to be between. I got to go with Anthony Rizzo because I'm just a fan favorite of Anthony Rizzo. But
okay.
you got Giambi, you got Dominic Kid, not Dominic. I'm sorry, you got the kid on the Indians as well. There's a lot of Italian. You got Vinny Pasquantino, but future Jack Caglione. You know, but we got to give Jack a little more time. He's still got to get there. But those are one of the guys. But there's so many Italian pitchers that we don't even know. People don't even know about. Justin Verlander. Who else? Chris, we got the guy that was on the Braves. Your guy on the Braves. I'm John
Fletcher.
Smoltz. You guys know he's half
Yes.
Italian?
Smoltz. That's
So
right.
I didn't know that till I was doing research for the interview. That's why I came up with the question. I literally called him on his way to work. I said, "We have a problem." I said, he goes, "What?" I said, "There's so many players I didn't even know." He goes, "Who?" I said, "I'm a lifelong Braves fan, and I would have never guessed John Smoltz." And he goes, "Real?" I said, "I can tell you other names, but you're gonna be like, what?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
You know, Joe Torre was a great third baseman, great
yeah,
player. I think Joe Torre even won MVP award.
yeah,
You
You
got
know, there's
also
so many.
Tony Lazzeri, second base. Uh,
Yes.
if you're talking about we can round out a coaching staff, Tony La Russa, you could put Torre on the coaching staff. You got Mike.
I mean, guys, we got to give him credit. Mike Piazza, Johnny Franco. You got to
Yeah.
give these guys credit. You know,
Well,
yeah,
our closer is Franco. I think that's an easy.
yeah, which
That
should be in the Hall of Fame.
should be in the
yes,
Hall of Fame.
100%.
He'll have his
It
day.
should be next year because I was gonna say, look how long it took Andrew Jones, so he should be close.
He can't. It's going to be 3 more years because there's this process with the contemporary era ballot. So now he has to wait. He just missed getting on the ballot this year, from what we were
Yeah,
told, and now we got to wait 3 more years. But we actually helped put his Hall of Fame nomination packet together, which was shared with the contemporary era committee. And again, talk about statistics and analytics and breaking down. The guy pitched more innings than anybody in National League history.
yes,
Like how?
Really?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's unbelievable. Or
Yeah,
or
right.
total outings is what it was, I guess. But yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There,
Oh,
there's
wow.
so many. There's so many Italian American athletes out there. I mean, you know, Anthony Volpe, right? Another one, half
Yep.
Italian, half Filipino. There's so many. I mean, just you know, Italians are everywhere, and we sneak up on you too when you least expect.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on today, and I really enjoy the mission and honestly bringing that attention and heritage. Because as someone, my most of my family's from Cuba, so I have a little more heritage there. So it's kind of fun learning about everybody else's heritage and what they value, and
Absolutely.
I enjoy it, especially with WBC coming up. We wanted to make sure we brought that out. But before we let you guys go, besides your website, where else can they find you to continue to follow your mission and what you guys are doing?
Definitely on our social media, Instagram, the Italian American Baseball Foundation, our Instagram, which Chris controls. He does a great job. Twitter, Facebook, but we're all over social media. So anything, any event, anything that we come up with, it's going to be all over our social media platform.
yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Just search IABF and you'll find us.
All right, gentlemen. Again, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to take up too much more of it. I know you guys are very busy, gentlemen. So, again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And until next time, guys, keep it inside the foul.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.